Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoteric and our continuing and When I Feel Like It series, Dreamcast Dreamland. We've got a really fun episode for you guys today because the prototype of the English language NTSC version of Shenmue 2 has been released by a guy named Laurent who's been bringing us some amazing Dreamcast betas and prototypes over the last year. Before we get too far involved, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like, subscribe, and that notification bell definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we have a Patreon link down below as well, and one of the bonuses is a ticket on this ship. That's obviously a joke, but it's amazing to have this playing on real Dreamcast hardware or in an emulator, because obviously we never got Shenmue 2 in an NTSC English release. It did come out in PAL territories, but you either make your Dreamcast boot that disc or deal with the PAL variant in some way, or it came out on Xbox, which is a great version, but it does change a few things fundamental to the Dreamcast original, and what it doesn't allow you to do is import your save game from the original Shenmue. It just gives you a lot of the items that you may have had. So having this game on an NTSC region disc as a prototype is absolutely spectacular, and big thanks to Laurent for doing this and releasing it. He's been on a streak lately with Castlevania Resurrection and a lot of other fun things. I keep thinking I'm going to finally stop talking about Dreamcast games, and I keep getting pulled back in, but no complaints whatsoever. I am very happy to do that when things like this happen. But as you can see here, the game is fully in English as far as subtitles are concerned, with the original Japanese voice actors, and I think that is the best way to play the game, because obviously Ryo sounds a certain way in English, and it is iconic, but the Japanese voice actor definitely does a much better job inflecting what you would expect to be normal conversational Japanese. It doesn't sound so stilted and odd. But short of that, this is the Shenmue 2 you know and love, and if you've never played it or the original game, I'm not sure how, but definitely go do that. I can't recommend it enough. But it's great to be able to have this on Dreamcast, and it does come with full debug menus as well. I dug into those, but honestly it's not the most interesting thing. You can just skip around to different levels and see different flags set in the environment, and the debug menu is quite difficult to get operating. I'll leave a link in the description below as to how to do that. But it's great to have this running on a North American Dreamcast. It is so much fun. The game is completable. The file asset dates basically put this as final. There's just a few spots where there's slight differences, or a couple spots where there isn't a translation. It is just subtitled in Japanese, but it's so rare, few and far between. This is the best way to play Shenmue 2 on a North American Dreamcast. I do own the PAL version. I love it. It'll be in my collection forever. God, those cases break constantly, so I'm very delicate with it. But you'll see here, Joy, original Japanese dialogue with a full English translation underneath it. And that's so much better than we got in North America with the Xbox version and the American voices, because those just didn't sound great. Now you can get the Xbox version playing a Japanese soundtrack as well, or a voice actor track, but it requires a lot more work than just downloading these GDI files and either popping them on your Dreamcast or popping them onto Demule or something like that. But it's so incredible that these releases are still happening, and like I said, I'll leave a link to it below, to the site that releases them, because there's so many awesome things happening with Dreamcast. It seems like every time I think I'm done making Dreamcast videos for a while, somebody else tells me about something coming up soon. And I did know about this before it came out a few days ahead. A little birdie whispered in my ear that it was coming, so I was prepared to make the video. I just had to schedule it here. But it's amazing. I can never advocate for this type of preservation and releasing of stuff enough. This is great to have into the community. It's not sitting in a collector's hand somewhere. It's not locked up, never to be seen again. And apparently what happened was this was on a blank GD-ROM disc. There was just no writing on the front of it. It didn't say Shenmue 2. It was just blank. They put it in a drive, and out popped Shenmue 2 in English. But the voice acting is absolutely great, so go ahead and listen for like 35-45 seconds, and I'll be right back and talk more about the new beta of Shenmue 2.
すいません。
はーい。
さっきバッグを盗まれたんです。
あら大変。
ここに誰か逃げてきませんでしたか？
いいえ。
そうですか。何か心当たりは？
毒蛇兄弟なら何か知ってるかも。
毒蛇兄弟？毒蛇兄弟って
この辺じゃ有名な、ちょっと困った人たちなの。さっき大金持ってうちに来たから、何か悪さしたんだろうと思って。
そうですか。毒蛇兄弟ってどこにいますか？
多分、かゆ屋さんじゃないかしら。
そうですか。
Now, I haven't done any side-by-side comparisons of a PAL Dreamcast versus an NTSC Dreamcast running both of these variants, but I do feel like in spots this version might run slightly faster than the PAL version. That is just to my eye and memory. It's been a few years since I completed the PAL version of Shenmue 2. For the last time, I probably played it through like 3 different times, but this is running perfectly, and that's because this beta is so far along in production. It's basically a finished game that just happens to not be released because this is the same English translation that would have been in the PAL region disc. And one of the misnomers is that Microsoft bought exclusivity to Shenmue 2, and that doesn't seem to be the case. This just seems to be another case of Sega disappointing their fan base, taking that dream of things that we want and just doing the complete opposite. Because North America was the only region not to get Shenmue 2 on a physical Dreamcast release. We just got it over here on the original Xbox, and that seems like a real thumb in the eye from Sega to Dreamcast fans to not give us that final game in the series that they made. And you'll see here the QuickTime events are still a ton of fun. I failed at this, and that's because capturing with latency is kind of a pain in the butt sometimes. This game looks great on an LED panel or an OLED or something like that, but on a CRT it looks incredible. If you do VGA out on something like this on an original Dreamcast, that's the way to play, and it keeps that lag down. Now what I wish will happen after this, maybe if I say it out loud into the universe, the universe will listen, because that does happen sometimes. Let's hope that the original Sega Saturn version of Shenmue, that prototype releases, because that's the one that I think we've all been waiting for. But in the meantime, an English language version on a North American Dreamcast build of Shenmue 2 is spectacular, and I know I've already said thanks before, but again, I'm always going to advocate on this channel for releasing betas and prototypes when you can legally do so. There is too much in the collector community of people saying they have something and never showing it, or saying they have something, showing it and saying they'll never release it. I do not understand that mindset. It's not something that I do personally, and next week I'm going to have a big 3DO M2 dump for everybody for Christmas because I've got some more stuff to release for free, and it makes me happy to do so. And it makes me happy to play Shenmue 2 on my North American Dreamcast. You don't need a boot disc. You don't need to play around with region patchers. You can just play this on a normal North American Dreamcast, like Sega should have given us back in the day. This should have just come out on Dreamcast. We shouldn't have to talk about a prototype with a debug menu as the way to play it in North America. It should have just happened, and the fact that it didn't is such a massive letdown. But hey, the preservation scene came through again in the end. Now, if you do want to access the debug menus in this game, it's easiest to do on an emulator. I use Demule to check them out in the background. You're going to have to set more than one controller up, virtually or otherwise, and you're going to have to sub out some patched GDI bin files for different files. The link in the description below will explain it, but just follow the directions very closely, because if you don't have the controls set up exactly right, you are not going to be able to access those debug menus, and it really just lets you skip around to different parts of the game, move around to different discs, and see different main areas. So it's not like there's a ton of content that you've never seen before, but it is still a lot of fun. And like I said earlier, if you've never played Shenmue or Shenmue 2, you 100% have to check them out. But yeah, that's what happened this week, or well, technically last week when I released this. A new beta for Shenmue 2 in full English subtitles for a North American NTSC Dreamcast released, and that is absolutely spectacular. We'll have videos throughout the week, guys. Like and subscribe, do me that favor. And like I said, one more time, if you've never played this, do it. See you next time. Bye-bye.